I have this belief that I starting to somewhat like I feel like, like I'm not paying uh paying like attention or whatever, or attention. Um like there's a fear of doing things like the pure way that I know how to do it. Um and like I have this belief that like I'm not like making that much money,
Hmm.
making that much money in from the things that I know really do work for me. And I know could really that really can help the planet. And I feel like, and I have these questions like, you know, I don't want to. And it's almost like I feel like I'm running away from being like my mother or something. My mother is not, financially getting anything. She's getting everything from my sister, and then my sister reminds me of my mother, the way my mother used to be when she was like 40, and she was like, you know, having me help her with her issues, all her issues that she had with her men problems and her money problems. And she's like basically demanding that I figure out like some sort of solution. When I was at this age where I didn't even know what the heck, to even say, and and so I'm I'm living in a music studio, like a recording studio right now, and it's it's good because it's very good for being productive and for being here, and I really like to be in this isolation with that, but um, it's like uh, yeah, I don't know where. I feel like I'm surrounded by people that have been doing this for like just the recording and whatever for a long time, and they have their bands, and I just feel like I'm totally like a little bit like not focusing or something, and yeah, and I just and like
Okay.
I don't want to I don't want to have anything really to do with my family, with my sister, with my mother, because I just every time it's just been very, like when I was trying to like talk to them and have something to do with them, they were, you know, they're basically criticizing me and calling me a murderer, and then asking me for money in the next breath.
Okay.
And um and
So
yeah, and just
here's the thing. If you were to make lots of money, would you have to give it to your mom?
no, but that's what she would want me to do, and
Yeah.
she would want me to feel bad for not giving it to her.
So, and this is how the subconscious works. So rather than have to deal with your mom making you feel bad, it's just easier not to have money. So you're going from this place of I ha, having my mom constantly at me to give me money is worse than than not having money at all. And if you can get to a place where you don't care what your mom says, and you know, even if you don't want to be in contact with your mom, so you don't have to hear it, then you can be in a space where you can make more money. But and it actually feels like it goes beyond that. You're worried about a lot of people asking you for money if you have money. And if you're constantly worried about people coming up to you and asking for the money you have, you're just not going to create money.
Or it's like I'm like, it's like I'm like doing something. Like I've always done work that involves, working with your body, working with energy, working with your envision, your imagination, working with that and working to inspire, but to inspire yourself first, and
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's just like it's like I'm not, there's like this part of me that's like afraid to ask for even like the amount of money that is like the minimum,
Good.
and like it's like I feel like um there's there's a certain um like outline that like a mold that needs to be fit in order to make a lot of money and in order to receive a lot of people asking
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
And
That's an interesting belief, but that's just a belief. There's no actual mold that has to be fit for you to be successful and for you to make money. Right. All you have to do is be you and allow people to see you and show up for you and be willing to receive from them. And most people aren't willing to do all of those things. So it feels okay. So there's a couple things going on. So are you willing to destroy the belief that it's better not to have money than to have people asking you for the money you have?
yes,
And are you willing to destroy the belief that in order to receive money doing what you do, you have to become something you don't want to become? Ow, there it is.
well, that's what I've been doing. I mean, I'm not exactly, but I am. Like it's like that's like this way, this like this like pathway that I took, and also it also goes back to like me like you know being surrounded in like a around like blue collar industry and that type of thing, and then that type of like place where people that's and then you're like I never have been a person to like buy into or try to become part of a group or a clique, and I never like tried to like you know be like, okay, I believe I'll believe what you believe, or I'll I'll do what you do because it's popular or whatever. I've never been like that. But but I find myself like I I chose to like when I chose to start like like I never I never I guess I had like a little bit of a judgment
Yeah.
about stripping and about although I've always danced like naked ever since I was little, just and it was a funny thing to me. It wasn't like it wasn't like a this obvious like provocative thing where I'm like having to like show the sexual provocativeness or something, or like demystify the and like after I when I chose to do that. It was like a way of getting money really fast. That I was going to be doing my dancing. I was going to be doing something that I have done all my life, and I was going to be getting paid for it. And there wasn't going to be like a whole big, huge, long process of an audition and all these other types of people that have been doing it forever, that have parents that have paid for them because they're rich or whatever. And then they don't fucking even know. They don't even know because they don't like they don't get that. They don't get it because they never had to deal with that. So then no, then there's like when I chose to start stripping, I was like, okay.
But listen to all the anger and the judgments that are coming out of your mouth right now. Right?
Yeah.
And this is the thing. This is what's keeping you from having what you want, because you have so many judgments about people that are doing things either the same or similar to you and succeeding and who they are and what they're about, and there's just hatred towards them, that you're keeping yourself from becoming one of those people, because you're like, I don't want to be like that, because those people are privileged, those people have done all this, they don't understand what I've been through. And so you're creating walls around what you want because of your judgment and anger towards all these other people. So it's not about what they do, and it's not about who they are. It's about you being willing to create your life the way you want to create your life. And it's about you doing what it takes. Because here's the thing. I was in a coffee shop one time with a bunch of artists, and there were singers, there were photographers, painters, sculptors, and they were going on about all the no talent hacks out there that are using these ways to market themselves, so that they're making all sorts of money and they don't really have the talent. And meanwhile, we all have the talent and we're struggling day to day. And like, how do they get away with this shit? And who are they to profit from all this stuff? And it was just an incredible bitch session. And finally, at the end, I just had to say something. And I said, well, you guys are all fucked and you guys are all stupid. And they just looked at me like, what? I said, listen, so you're talking about all these people that have no talent. They're using certain methods to create wealth for themselves. And instead of bitching about them, you should talk to them and ask them about it and get information from them. And then you, with talent, can do those same things. And how well do you think you'll do compared to the people with no talent? And they never looked at it that way. So instead of making the successful people your enemies, you can make successful people your allies. And if you've got that talent and you know you have that talent, then when you start doing things that successful people do, you will create even greater success, and especially the ones that have less talent than you. But to be in this place of bitching about everyone else, angry with everyone else, complaining about how it works for other people when it's not working for you, that keeps you stuck. You have to get to this place, okay, this is where I am, and this is what I want to create. This is the life I want to create. Get into the feeling of that life and see it, picture it, get into the energy of that, and then just say, now what do I need to do to get there? And you do what it takes to get there. Most people aren't willing to do that. Most people are stuck wallowing in the life they have and spending most of their time doing shit, just wasting time. So they're watching YouTube, they're playing video games, and they're spending hours. I had a conversation with someone, and he's like, I said, let's total up what you do in the day. And 8 hours of his day was doing crap. And he's wondering why he wasn't successful. And I'm like, stop playing the video games. Stop, watching YouTube. So all that time could be productive time for you building your life into what you want to do. And you're bitching that your life isn't going anywhere. So this is the thing.
I'm like,
and I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just sort of throwing it out there, in that you have to do what it takes to create the life you love. And if you really want that life, you're going to enjoy doing those. You're going to get pulled to do all the different tasks. I don't know how many times that I'm trying to go to sleep and my brain is buzzing and I have to get up, and then I'm writing copy for a program that I'm about to create, or I'm sending off emails to these people with new ideas that I've got, And it's just because it's just in me. It's like, this is the life I'm creating, and I'm going to do it. And then I watch it start to unfold because I'm driven, because I'm so passionate about what I want to do. But at the same time, I'm not bitching about why isn't it here yet? Why does it have to be so hard? Why do other people have it easy? You screw what's going on with the rest of the world, and you focus on what you can do to amp things up for yourself. You can look at some of the other people and say, oh, look what they're doing. That's interesting. Will that work for me? Can I use some of that idea? Can I tap into that energy? That's great. But whenever you get into resentment, which is where you were going, whenever you get to anger and hate and frustration, especially with the other people, you're giving them power over your life instead of having that power with you.
Like I've heard this before. I've heard this in my life before. Not exactly like that, but I've heard this before.
Mm-hmm.
And I do admit that, like, I'm like not very, I'm going through something, like, and it's and it's possibly a blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so if I'm gonna get like emotional, then this would be the time to do it, right?
Okay.
I mean, partially. I mean, but at the same time, not completely. But like, I'm looking at, I'm looking at the places where it's bringing me to, and it's interesting, because like I'm having to volunteer at this. I'm having to volunteer at this this church, and it's like old Catholic church, like an old like Jewish church, the old Jew, and so it's all like a lot of homeless people go there for food. Mm-hmm. So I'm helping give like breakfast and lunch at this place, and people are going to sleep there for a bit or whatever, and it's like, wow, like, and I go there and I feel like I'm like kind of like, I'm not the same, but like it's like I'm I'm in this place where I have to do these volunteer hours for the remember I told you that court thing?
Yeah, I remember.
So I'm having to do these volunteer hours, and also I got to get them done like ASAP, because I want to be able to leave and go on tour with this band, which is called Daring Greatly. They're called Daring Greatly, and they're from San Francisco. And I met them on Facebook, and we've been talking and stuff. And
okay, so you're gonna go with the band, and
I'm gonna go there anyways. But so I have to go to BC, but and I got to get all this money in order to fly out there and da 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 da. But then they've also like I got this promoter manager guy that I met who believes in what I'm doing, and he has offered to take me on as an artist of his, and so he said, okay, let me talk to them about getting together a contract. And then I told Dale that, and he was like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, no, definitely. That's cool, but then I just feel like I get this weird feeling in my face, like, oh, I shouldn't ask for it, because they didn't ask me to come on tour, but they did kind of invite me. And I just like, it's like this feeling of self, like, it's almost like I feel like I'm not, like, there's this little seed. It's like, do you really think you're worth that much? Do you really think you should ask for getting paid for what you do.
Okay, so here's the thing. You got to ignore that voice. Right. So if you want things in your life, you have to ask for these things. And if you ask and they say no, well, then you get a no. But if you ask and they say yes, then things change and things progress. But if you keep listening to that voice that says you shouldn't have been asked, do you really deserve it? Then you're going to stay in this place where you're not asking for anything and you're not getting anything. So it's a big thing. Like it can be scary, especially if you're asking for a bigger amount of money than you're used to. But if you ask and people start saying yes, then obviously they feel you're worth it, right? So you go from there, right? But this is the thing: most people are afraid to ask. Most people are just like, okay, I'm not worth it, so I'm not even going to ask for that money. I'm not worth it, so why even try? I'm not worth it, so why even have to start a conversation about it? Ignore all that. Ask and ask and ask, right? And then if you get the no's, that's fine. Some people will say, okay, well, no, you're asking for this much money. No, I'm not going to give you this much money, but let's haggle a little bit. Maybe I can give you a little less, but it'll be more than you asked for, and you can find the middle ground there. There's all sorts of stuff that opens up when you ask.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the thing, that little voice that tells you you're not worth it and not to do things is your ego trying to keep you as safe as possible, and it's trying to keep you safe from people saying no and the feelings that happen when people say no. If you don't worry and you just say, if people say no, they're just doing what's best for them, then everyone's just taking care of themselves. A no from anyone is someone taking care of themselves. You don't have to take it as an insult to you or as a hurt to you. It's just them taking care of them. And you can actually even say, when you get a no from someone, you can actually say, oh, okay, it's a no, thank you for taking care of yourself. So that you're reinforcing that to yourself. But yeah, don't listen to that voice. Any voice in you that's there trying to keep you small, ignore it. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. All right. Let us go
Thank you,
to... You're welcome.
Hey, this is Shiraz. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. And you can check out upcoming events at www.energeticmagic.com. And remember, be well, be aware, and be magical.